another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about PayPal mailing and the common scams the seller or a buyer can pull on you. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the most common ways a buyer can pull in a scam on you, and I'm going to go through all of them in a kind of a detail. So first of all, I'm going to talk about the fake payment and email receipt. So this is basically what it is that so the buyer or a scammer, if you wish, send the payment. They tell you that they send you the payment and check your junk email. Okay, that's first of a red line because never PayPal emails go through junk mail unless you mark them as to be junk. So that's the first red line. Okay, never ever post an item. Never post an item unless you see the money into your PayPal account. Okay, what do I mean by that? So PayPal, whenever you get money, whenever you get paid, in the recent activity, it will display it as the money being paid, the amount of the money they got paid you. It has to be there. Never rely on an email. Email can be, it can easily be reproduced. It can easily be framed. So never rely on that. Only recent activity. And if the guy says your account is new, anything like that, no, that's not the case. Even the money can be pending. It can still be seen on your recent activity next to the guy's name. There can be a pending mark, small pending mark. Okay, and that's true. That can happen if you're a new time seller, and the PayPal will do it as a security measure. All you gotta do, that's easy. You need to upload a tracking number onto that transaction. Once that is delivered, money will be lifted off and you can access it. Or you can ask the seller, buyer, to once the tracking number is delivered, tell them to please lift off the pending status, and they can do it most of the times. So don't worry about that. It will show pending on your recent activity. It will show pending on your recent activity. Just keep on that, and don't rely on email at all. Don't rely on email at all. Only post once you have it on your recent activity here. So the next one is, this is an interesting one. So this can happen too. If there are 2 times if you pay to someone on eBay, on PayPal, there are 2. So you can be on the friends and family. What happens is that then you will not be charged a fee, and you don't necessarily need to post it to an address given on their account. And the buyer cannot open up any dispute under friends and family. So don't worry about that. But if it's under goods and service, there will be 2.9% tax. That's that. And also make sure. So you click on that. For instance, this is a person, and there will be. So this one I paid as friends and family. Don't worry about it. But it can happen here. There is a spot here that the buyer's address will be displayed. Okay, you will only have to post to that. Now it doesn't necessarily mean that the buyer sent, and maybe the buyer messaged you to post it to a different address to the one given on PayPal. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a scam, but do tell the buyer that. And if it's a genuine buyer, he'll recognize a mistake, and he maybe change the address on PayPal or tell you to post it to the address on PayPal. But the key point here is that only post it to an address given on the PayPal transaction, okay? And it is displayed on that transaction itself. The reason being is that because if you post it to a different address given to PayPal, the buyer can easily open up a dispute. It can easily open up a dispute saying, I never did receive an item. And you may even send a tracking number, but since it's a different address, the buyer will not take any responsibility, and they give the money to the PayPal will not take any responsibility and will get the money back from you to the buyer. That's another common scam. So make sure you know what you're doing. The other one is no tracking number. Okay, that's again important. So if you don't send any tracking number, it is as if basically if buyer can open up a dispute, you're gonna lose your money. No tracking number, no proof of shipping. Okay, no proof of shipping. It is rigged towards a buyer. Like I said, PayPal is a buyer-sided platform. If you don't know what you're doing on a seller side, you need to be make sure you know the kind of the PayPal side's policies towards the buyer before you actually know what you're doing, before you actually commit to a deal there. So it is a very buyer-sided platform, like an eBay. So make sure you have a tracking number for every parcel you send, especially if it's an expensive item. If it's an expensive item, I don't know, you consider doing a signature on delivery. Consider doing a signature on delivery, because that's the thing. It's still It is still is, it's a bad thing, but even if you don't have a signature on delivery, it still can a buyer, even though you send it to an address, buyer can still open up a case and win the money. They be like, I'm sorry, we didn't get the item, maybe, and you can, then they will put the blame, even if it's not you, on the postal service, saying we didn't get the item, I need my item. So if you don't do no signature on delivery, it means that the buyer that it was supposed to receive it, he didn't receive it, basically. But listen, this is an extremely rare scenario. It can happen. It can happen rarely, but it's not very common, as if, let's say, for instance, fake paper or email receipt. So to just sum this up is that make sure you have a tracking number. If it's below than $100, don't consider do signature on delivery. If it's more than $100, you can, for your safety. You should consider doing it, okay? And again, it doesn't necessarily help. I called PayPal numerous times. They don't necessarily have it on the policy of checking the parcel and saying that you, for instance, you took the video of you posting it, etc., etc. They don't necessarily rely on that. Again, that's all the signature on delivery. That's what they all look for as PayPal company. But it may kind of help to you, okay? So you can consider taking picture too. But yeah, so these three are things. Again, from these three, these are all extremely easy to distribute. These are easy to, except this one is a bit medium length. Like I said, if you have a signature on delivery, it's for you, man. If it's on signature on delivery and it does say delivered, PayPal will automatically cite on you. Don't worry about that. But if you don't, it's still buyer, PayPal will cite to your buyer. But again, these two are very easy to spot. This can be medium length, but this one is a bit tricky on our transaction. So basically what happens is that happened to me once, and PayPal basically took my money, but what happened is that I called them numerous times. So let's explain that. So what happens is when for instance, you do that, that's a PayPal thing, the buyer can report a problem. Once the buyer report a problem, PayPal will give them a couple of options. I didn't receive an item I purchased. I received one that's not as described. So this is not, but I need to report unauthorized activity. This will automatically put their account on hold for more verification and the transaction on hold. Now, if you are a veteran of PayPal, what does that mean is that if you have sold on PayPal for a long time, you can actually be eligible for fast money, or you have a level on PayPal that it doesn't necessarily hold on to your money instantly. The PayPal will review information and everything, okay? So what you have to do is that the PayPal will hold on to the money. Again, this will go back to here. This is where actually for this unauthorized transaction, if you have already posted an item and the money is holded, that's why I said take as many pictures as you can. Yes, here is where the taking picture is helpful, because you basically have a proof of shipment. And PayPal, while they say when you ship an item, they don't take the money off you, it all depends on the banking institution. So banks have more power than PayPal. If the bank says I need the money for my customer, which is the buyer, PayPal has to obligate and give them the money, and it does that, okay? So basically the money can be taken off your account and given to them, but then you can have a chargeback thingy. So you have to make sure give a PayPal a couple of times, express your concern, tell them that you've posted an item, tell them you have a shared proof of shipment, tell them it's not your responsibility because the buyer didn't claim for unauthorized transaction until before you shipping it, but after you ship it, they claimed it for that. So give the PayPal couple of times call. It is very more helpful. They can know that you're genuinely concerned. And even if the PayPal sided with the buyer because of the, again, like I said, the banking institution, everything like that, eventually at the end of the day, they can do a chargeback and they refund you the whole money that you're supposed to lost, and you give it to the buyer. So that's again another thing. It's a hard and lengthy thing because you have to give them a call. It's way more easy. If you just email them, it can be a bit more tricky. And again, things like this, you don't necessarily have a lot of power to. It just automatically put a hold onto your money, because again, it's an unauthorized transaction. Buyer will be like, I didn't pay for the money, and things like this happen. So again, don't worry about it, and just have as many proof of shipment as possible before you post. Things like this are rare, okay? So I'm just saying because yeah, this can be happening, but it's not like it happens like 5 out of 10 transactions. No, it's maybe 1 in 30. It's very rare, very rare. So for me, unauthorized transaction, I've been dealing on PayPal for a couple of years. It only happened once, to be honest with you. So again, but it happens. It can happen. The other one is, again, is a very tricky, the item as not described. Unfortunately, this one is a hard one because PayPal, again, is a buyer sided, like an eBay, they are buyer sided. You cannot do much. What you can do is, again, go back to taking pictures, taking video. It can be helpful, but it not necessarily guarantee you your money. So what happens is that buyer may open up a case like this is not as described. I need the full money. You can either give them the full money or portion of the money, or you can accept the return. Now, you can accept the return and they may send you the item back, or they may send you a different item back. Again, so it is good to take a video of you before posting and after you receive the parcel of the returned item from the buyer and see that is that the genuine item or not. But again, it's a lengthy one. It's a lengthy one, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen quite often. But it's usually hard to distribute because PayPal really does rely on buyer. It really does. It's extremely buyer-sided. It's an unfortunate event, but it doesn't happen really quite regularly, okay? So yeah, just take as many as proof of shipping, ship of item before shipping it, okay? And yeah, that's that. So these are the most common buyer scams as of now. Now, seller scams, there are not many, okay? There are not many at all. It's mainly maybe because they are personal sided, more of the monetary incentive. They may be trolling, okay? Never send the item. Maybe they just want the money to buy some stuff, and a week later, after they bought their item and they have the money in their account, they'll be like, sorry, I cannot post it to you for whatever reason it is. They never send the item. You can easily open up a dispute and you can have your money back in like 5 or 10 days. Okay, all you gotta do is just say item not as received, as I hear as that. I don't receive item I purchased, and if it's in a scam, the seller will just don't reply and you win the case quite easily. Again, another one could be they cancel a deal and they may bring up a story and not refunding you in full. Again, guys, if you pay for something, you are entitled to item you purchase or your full refund. Okay, don't fall into a scam of them saying that you're not obligated for full refund. You're not entitled to full refund for whatever reason it may be. Okay, they either have to give you a full refund or your item. So these two, again, these are very personal things. It is very easy because PayPal is an extremely easy platform for buyers. Okay, seller, it's very good. It's not very good. Okay, I mean, but it is usable. It's good. It's usable for sellers too, but it's a bit harder. But just like I said, you have to know what you're doing as a seller. But for the buyer, it's easy. You can just do everything, to be honest with you. And with zero, to be honest, with a zero repercussion, if you wish, because it is not as hard for a buyer. Your buyer can open up a, like I said, it's a buyer-sided platform. The third of them is item never. This can be common. So item never delivered. Okay, or they send a fake tracking number not as described. So item never delivered. So if they send you these two are kind of linked. So if they send you a tracking number, and if you, for instance, check that tracking number, if it's a fake one, if there is no any update, if there is no any proof of shipping, basically it's just a digit number that is not even recorded in any system, postal carrier system, open up a dispute. First, be in contact with the seller. If they don't reply to you or you seem to be blocked, open up a dispute. Not as described, I would encourage you guys to first be in touch with the seller. Most of the times they are eager to help. If they don't, again, you can easily, like I said, open up a dispute on there. Don't worry at all. And then you can go through PayPal, and PayPal will most definitely, if you have enough proof of picture, it will excuse me, it will side with you. So proof of shipping is very important. Tracking number, taking pictures, or taking video, it can be helpful, especially if the item you sell is an expensive item. Do more, be more cautious when you deal. And but yeah, in an overall thing, PayPal is an extremely safe platform for buyers. It can be tricky for sellers, okay? But if you know what you're doing and you take some cautious and you gain some experience here and there, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. So that's that. Thanks for watching. And if there's anything else, feel free to help me. Feel free to ask me in the comment section.